Thank you. Thank you for organizing this ELT Day for Puerto Rico. And I'd like to thank Tyson, Jose, and Ravina for their great contributions today. And as the topic is global citizenship, they did a great job in providing practical perspectives on global citizenship to their students in the classroom, as well as throughout the perspective of the teachers. I am going to give another different perspective from a theoretical background, and I hope to briefly help understanding education for global citizenship. And in order to do that, we need to deconstruct the three concepts of citizenship, global citizenship, and education, and how the three work together. So let's start by explaining what citizenship is. Uh, Traditionally, it refers to the membership of individuals belonging to a certain political system at a nation or state level. It also involves a sense of belonging to that particular community, and it requires a form of action, which implies rights and entitlement, as well as duties, responsibilities within that particular context of the nation. Legal dimensions, though, imply that traditionally citizenship remains within the boundaries of the nation of the country. Um, However, there are post-national, or what is also called the cosmopolitan or global citizenship, and for that, sorry, I skipped one here. Global citizenship has started to emerge, and Lagos 2003 argued that despite the legal restriction that I just mentioned earlier of citizenship, a global citizenship can be expressed in other ways that may have a significant and profound impact on the development of civic engagement and citizen-state relationships. Examples of the emergence of global citizenship may appear when citizens may develop a sense of belonging to a global community as they share humanistic values such as equal rights, respect for human dignity, social justice, and international solidarity. And Mayer and Sandy 2009 also argue that, in fact, every human being should be a potential global citizen by virtue of living on planet Earth. We don't need any restrictions. We don't need boundaries for that, as the world is increasingly connected directly or indirectly, and we're becoming interdependent beyond our own communities. And this is mainly based on the humanitarian principles that are universal to our local communities, or also go belong local communities. Tawil 2013 tried to relate education and citizenship as an attempt to explain what citizenship education is, and the framework of education for global citizenship. So he explains that education is a process of socialization through the transmission of knowledge, the skills and values that have been explained in the previous presentations. And the agents in this process are individuals, also institutions, formal and informal education systems. And that social, civic, and political functions of education, we find them mostly and explicitly articulated in our curriculum policies and our designs of education, and they are called, and that's what we call citizenship education. And that also citizenship education goes beyond that, as it is an area of teaching and learning, both formal and non-formal, for children, for the youth, for adults, which is centered on the social and the civic political education that is considered to be an essential part of the formation of citizenship in any given context. So also education and global citizenship has been tackled by the United Nations Secretary General Global Education First Initiative in 2012, which included 3 different priorities, among which number 3 that aims to foster global citizenship. And accordingly, education must fully assume its central role in helping people to forge more just and more peaceful, more tolerant, and more inclusive societies. It must give people the understanding, the skills and values that they need to cooperate in resolving the interconnected challenges of the 21st century. So as education system contribute to forging local and global citizenship by promoting the necessary knowledges and the necessary skills and the necessary values to enable learners to develop three main things. The first one is the identification, which is a sense of shared destiny both with the local and national communities, with the socially, culturally, or politically, as well as the humanity and the global community as a whole. The second thing that global citizenship enable learners to develop is the understanding and awareness. It's an awareness of the challenges posed to the development of the communities through an understanding of the interdependence of patterns of social, economic, and environmental changes locally and globally. And the third and very important one is the commitment to act by engaging in civic and social actions based on the sense of individual responsibility and duty towards these communities globally and locally. So there is a continuum of approaches to citizenship and education. We moved from more conservative approaches, which is called the civics education, to more progressive approaches, which is the citizenship education. So while the first one aims at regards educations as teaching education about citizenship, the more progressive one is education through and for citizenship. Also, we moved from reproduction of social order to transformation and adaptation to change, from conformity and compliance to action and civic engagement. And while civic education is content-led, citizenship education is process-led. And while the first one is knowledge-based, the second one is principles-based. And most importantly, we move from the didactic transmission to the more interactive approaches and critical interpretation of citizenship education. So education for global citizenship, as Tawil's 2013, is a framework, which is a framing concept or a paradigm that expresses a collective purpose of education. It highlights an essential function of education in forming an increasingly interconnected and interdependent citizenship in a global world, and it is a concern with the relevance of knowledge and the skills and the values of the participation of citizens and their contribution and the dimensions of these society and their development locally and globally. And it is directly related to the civic, social, and political socialization that education has as a purpose and function. And ultimately, it is the contribution of education in preparing children and young people to deal with the challenges of today's increasingly interconnected and interdependent world. And the ROTI 2006 suggested possible ethical approaches to the global dimension of citizenship in education. And these three ethical approaches are humanistic, which is based on the fundamental principle of common humanity, universality, and diversity, which also he called as the soft education, global education citizenship. The second one is environmental, which is based on the principle of sustainable development. Examples of that is environmental education, and Tyson's given examples of that in practice with students. And the third one is the political dimension, which is based on social justice and equal rights. And according to Enderoti, this is the so-called the crucial dimension of global citizenship education. So to conclude, the globalization in its varied forms, whether from an economic or technological, environmental or political perspective, has increasingly transformed the traditional concepts of tradition and practices of citizenship from a traditional one towards a global or cosmopolitan educational citizenship. This transformation is manifested and the international human rights, greater interconnectedness and interdependence of individuals, groups around the world, and the emergence of post-national, beyond local civic engagement. And I hope that you had a little bit of understanding from theoretical perspective of what global citizenship education or more relevantly, the what we call the Education for Cosmopolitan Citizenship, which is an adaptation and enrichment of our local and national citizenship education programs. That's it. Thank you, and
Thank you.
please don't forget to donate for our fellow citizen in Puerto Rico for this great cause. Thank you very much.